Chosen one, listen carefully. This is not just another message. This is a divine appointment, a moment set apart for you. If you feel something stirring in your heart right now, it is because the Spirit is calling you. This message is not for everyone. It is for you. The one God has been preparing, the one who has been seeking, the one who has been waiting. God sees you. He has seen every tear you have cried, every sleepless night, every battle you thought would break you. But hear me now. What you are about to discover will change everything. There is a shift happening in the spiritual realm, and God is calling His chosen ones to rise. You are standing at the edge of something extraordinary, something life-altering, and this is your confirmation. Do not ignore this message. Do not scroll away. This is the moment you have been praying for, the moment you have been unknowingly preparing for. You are about to receive divine clarity, an awakening, a breakthrough that will leave you speechless. The enemy has tried to distract you, tried to keep you from hearing this truth, but nothing can stop what God has set in motion. You may have questioned why certain doors have closed, why you have faced opposition, why you have felt lost in a season of waiting. But what if I told you that the very things that seemed like obstacles were actually part of God's divine strategy? What if I told you that your delays were not denials, but divine redirections? The shaking you have felt in your spirit was never meant to break you. It was meant to position you for what is coming next. God has been speaking. Have you been listening? Because what I am about to reveal will open your eyes. This is not a coincidence. This is a calling. There is a divine appointment on your life, and you are standing on the edge of something powerful. You may not see it yet, but in the heavens, there is movement, a shift, a breakthrough that has been ordained from the beginning of time. God has chosen you, not by accident, not by chance, but with purpose. The battles you have faced, the struggles that have worn you down, the waiting that has tested your patience, all of it has been preparing you for what is coming. God is not just restoring what was lost. He is positioning you for something greater than you ever imagined. The enemy has fought hard to keep you distracted, to keep you weary, to make you doubt. But God is saying, enough. This is your moment of awakening. Do you feel it? The stirring in your soul, the weight in your spirit, the undeniable sense that something is changing? That is not your imagination. That is the voice of the Holy Spirit calling you higher. You are being positioned for a new season, a divine assignment that will set you apart. But here's the truth. Many are called, but few are chosen. And today, God is revealing that you are among the chosen ones. You have been waiting for a sign. This is it. You have been looking for confirmation. Here it is. God is saying, now is the time. Rise up. Step into the promise I have for you. The old has passed away. Behold, I am doing a new thing in your life. Can you not perceive it? What you are about to hear will open your eyes to the truth of what has been happening around you. The delays, the closed doors, the disappointments, they were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to prepare you. You have been tested, refined, and strengthened in ways you could not see. But now, God is revealing the reason, the purpose, the why behind every trial. And when you understand this truth, you will never see your life the same way again. Now, let me show you what God has been doing behind the scenes, what He has been preparing for you all along. Chosen one, have you ever felt like you were walking through a season of silence? A time when it seemed like heaven was quiet, and no matter how hard you prayed, the answers just wouldn't come? You weren't imagining it. You weren't forgotten. You were being prepared. God never wastes a single moment of your life. Every tear you have cried, every disappointment you have endured, every prayer you thought went unanswered. It all had a purpose. When God chooses someone for a great calling, He first takes them through a process of refinement. Think of Joseph, thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and later imprisoned for a crime he did not commit. It would have been easy for Joseph to believe that God had abandoned him. But in reality, every painful step was preparing him for the moment he would rise to a position of power and save an entire nation. Maybe you too have felt like you were trapped in a pit, surrounded by hardship, unsure of how you would ever get out. Maybe doors have closed in your face, opportunities have slipped through your fingers, and you have wondered, why, God? Why is this happening to me? But what if I told you that those closed doors were actually God's protection? What if I told you that the delays were divine detours, keeping you from settling for something less than what God has planned for you? The world teaches us that waiting is wasted time. But in the kingdom of God, waiting is not a punishment. It is preparation. God allows seasons of silence to deepen our faith, to sharpen our character, and to make sure that when we step into the blessing He has prepared for us, we will be ready to carry it. Think of David, anointed as king but sent back to the fields to tend sheep. 4 years, he fought battles in secret before he ever stood before Goliath. His preparation happened in obscurity, in the places where no one was watching. But when the time came for him to step into his destiny, he was ready. Maybe you have been fighting battles in secret. Maybe you have been overlooked, underestimated, or cast aside. But hear me now. God has seen every single moment. He has been watching, refining, strengthening you for the very thing you have been praying for. And when the moment comes, when the door opens, you will step into it with confidence, because you will know that God Himself has prepared you for such a time as this. But here's the question. Will you trust Him in the waiting? Will you trust that even when you don't see the full picture, God is still working behind the scenes? The enemy wants you to believe that nothing is happening, that you are forgotten. But the truth is, your preparation season is proof that something is happening. You are being made ready. And when the appointed time comes, nothing and no one will be able to stop what God has set in motion for you. And that time is coming soon. Let me tell you what happens next. Chosen one, before every great breakthrough, there is a moment of breaking. It is the moment when everything seems too difficult, too overwhelming, too impossible. It is the moment when your strength feels like it has run out, when your prayers feel unanswered, when you wonder if God has forgotten you. But listen to me. This moment is not the end. It is the turning point. You see, before a seed can sprout and grow, it must first break beneath the soil. It must crack open and be buried in darkness before new life can begin. The same is true for you. If you feel like everything is breaking apart, if you feel like you are being pressed on all sides, know this: you are not being destroyed. You are being transformed. Think of the story of Job, a man who lost everything: his wealth, his health, his family. He was faithful, yet he suffered. He cried out to God, asking why. But in the end, when everything seemed lost, God restored him with double what he had before. Job's breaking season was not punishment. It was preparation for greater blessing. And the same is happening in your life right now. Maybe you have been facing battles that no one else sees. Maybe you have been carrying burdens that feel too heavy. But what if I told you that this breaking is making room for something greater? God does not allow pain without purpose. Every struggle, every disappointment, every closed door, it is all part of the process. It is stretching you, growing you, strengthening you for what is coming next. God is saying to you, do not give up now. You are closer than you think. The enemy wants you to believe that you are alone, that you are forgotten, that your prayers are in vain. But let me tell you the truth. God is fighting for you, even when you cannot see it. He is moving things in the spiritual realm, opening doors that no man can shut, preparing a way where there was no way before. You are in the middle of the breaking, but do not fear. Just as a storm comes before a clear sky, just as the darkest hour comes before the dawn, your greatest breakthrough will come after this season of breaking. But you must hold on. You must keep believing. You must not let go of the promises that God has spoken over your life. Because the moment you least expect it, everything will shift. Suddenly, what seemed impossible will become possible. Suddenly, the door that was closed will swing open. Suddenly, the very thing you have been praying for will come to pass. And when it happens, you will understand why you had to go through the breaking. You will see that every tear you cried, every battle you fought, every time you chose faith over fear, it was all leading you to this. Chosen one, the breakthrough is coming. But first, you must endure the breaking. Can you trust that God is still in control, even in this season? Can you believe that He is working all things together for your good, even when you cannot see it? If you can hold on just a little longer, you will see it with your own eyes. The promise is closer than you think. Let me tell you what happens when God shifts everything in your favor. Chosen one, there comes a moment in every journey when everything shifts. It happens suddenly, unexpectedly. One moment, you are walking through a storm, and the next, the clouds begin to part. One moment, the doors are locked, and the next, they fly open. The world calls it luck, but we know the truth. It is the hand of God moving in your life. You have been waiting. You have been praying. You have been wondering when things will change. And God is saying, the shift has already begun. You may not see it yet, but in the spiritual realm, things are being rearranged in your favor. Think of Esther, an ordinary woman who was placed in extraordinary circumstances. She was chosen to be queen, but she did not yet know the reason. Then came the moment of divine shift, a time when her voice, her faith, and her courage were needed to save an entire nation. If she had remained silent, the opportunity would have passed. But because she stepped into her calling, because she trusted that she had been placed in her position for such a time as this, everything changed. Now, God is saying to you, your moment is coming. The shift is here. You have been faithful in the small things. You have endured the waiting. You have stayed the course when others walked away. And because of this, you are stepping into the divine shift. A season where everything that was working against you will begin to work for you. The things that seemed impossible will suddenly become possible. The struggles that held you back will suddenly lose their power. The favor of God will go before you, opening doors that no man can shut. But listen closely. This shift requires your faith. When the opportunity comes, you cannot shrink back. When God speaks, you must be ready to move. Remember the Israelites standing at the edge of the Red Sea. They saw no way forward. Behind them was Pharaoh's army. Ahead of them was an impassable sea. To the human eye, it looked like the end. But then, in a moment, God made a way where there was no way. The waters parted, and they walked through on dry ground. The very thing that seemed like an obstacle became the path to their breakthrough. Could it be that the thing you have feared the most, the challenge, the closed door, the waiting, is actually the very thing that God is about to use to launch you into your destiny? What if the hardship you have endured is not the end, but the setup for something greater? Chosen one, you are stepping into your Red Sea moment. The divine shift is happening. The waters are parting. But now, the question is, will you walk forward in faith, or will you allow fear to keep you stuck in the past? God has already gone ahead of you. The battle is already won. But you must move when He says move. You must be ready to step into the place He has prepared for you. The shift is not coming. It is here, and in this season, you will see the hand of God like never before. But there is one more thing you need to know before you step into this divine breakthrough. Something that will prepare you for what is coming next. Chosen one, now that the shift has begun, now that the breakthrough is unfolding, there is one final truth you must embrace. You must be ready to walk in the promise. Too many people pray for miracles, but when the time comes to step into them, they hesitate. Fear, doubt, and uncertainty creep in. They wonder, am I really ready? Can I really handle this? But hear me now. When God opens a door, He has already prepared you to walk through it. The time of questioning is over. The time of hesitation has passed. The very thing you have been praying for is now within reach. But you must move. Look at the story of the Israelites entering the Promised Land. 4 years, they wandered in the wilderness, waiting for the moment when they would step into the land flowing with milk and honey. Then, finally, the moment came. The promise was right in front of them. But instead of running toward it in faith, fear overtook many of them. They saw the giants in the land, and instead of trusting God's word, they allowed doubt to take over. And because of their doubt, an entire generation missed their promise. God is telling you today, do not let fear rob you of what He has prepared for you. Do not let past disappointments make you afraid to embrace the new thing He is doing. Do not let the voices of doubt tell you that you are not qualified, not ready, not chosen. Because you are chosen. The road ahead will not be without challenges. But remember this, if God called you to it, He will equip you for it. The same God who opened the door will give you the strength to walk through it. The same God who parted the Red Sea will make a way for you. The same God who lifted Joseph from the prison to the palace is the God who is lifting you. Your job is not to understand every detail. Your job is to trust, to walk forward in faith, to believe that what God has started in you, He will complete. And let me tell you this, when you step into your promise, you will look back and realize why you had to go through everything that led up to this moment. The waiting, the breaking, the shifting. All of it was necessary to prepare you for what is coming next. God is saying, do not look back. Do not doubt. Do not hesitate. The time is now. The moment is here. The promise is unfolding. And you, chosen one, are stepping into your destiny. You stand at the threshold of your breakthrough, your destiny, your divine calling. Heaven has spoken. The shift has begun. But now, you must take the step of faith. Too often, people receive a word from God, a confirmation, a sign, and yet, they remain where they are. They wait for everything to be perfect, for every obstacle to disappear, for every fear to subside before they move. But that is not how faith works. Faith is stepping forward before you see the full picture. Faith is trusting that if God has brought you this far, He will not leave you now. God has placed something in your heart, a dream, a vision, a purpose. Maybe you've known it for years, or maybe this message is awakening something inside of you right now. Whatever it is, this is your moment to act. Think of Peter, standing in the boat in the middle of the storm. When he saw Jesus walking on the water, he could have stayed where it was safe. He could have watched from a distance, waiting for the waves to calm down. But he didn't. He stepped out. He chose faith over fear. And because of that choice, he walked where no man had walked before. Now, God is asking you, will you step out of the boat? Will you move forward in faith, even when the path is uncertain? Will you embrace the calling on your life, even when the enemy tries to whisper lies of doubt and fear? Will you trust that God's plan for you is greater than anything you could have imagined? This is not the time to shrink back. This is not the time to second-guess what you already know in your spirit. This is the time to step forward. God is saying, your time is now. The doors are opening. The shift is happening. The promise is unfolding. But you must move. You must pray with expectation. You must declare with boldness. You must believe with unshakable faith that the God who began this work in you will bring it to completion. Do not delay. Do not wait for another sign. This is the sign you have been waiting for. Chosen one, if this message has stirred something in your spirit, if you feel the presence of God moving in your life right now, do not ignore it. Say yes to His calling. Step into your breakthrough. Receive what He is doing in your life today. And if this message speaks to you, let me know in the comments. Declare, I receive this breakthrough. Speak it in faith, and watch how God moves in response to your obedience. The time is now. Step into it. Heaven has spoken, and your spirit has heard. You are not here by accident. You were meant to receive this message. You were meant to awaken to this truth. God has been preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. And now, the time has come for you to walk in it. You may still feel the weight of past battles. You may still hear the echoes of fear and doubt. But listen, those things no longer have power over you. The season of waiting is over. The season of questioning is behind you. You are stepping into the season of divine fulfillment. God is moving. Doors are opening. Chains are breaking. What once seemed impossible is now within reach, because God has ordained it. This is the moment where everything changes. But here's the most beautiful part. This is just the beginning. Your journey does not end here. This message is not just for today. It is a seed that has been planted in your spirit, and it will continue to grow. In the days ahead, you will begin to see confirmation after confirmation. Signs will follow you. Divine encounters will take place. The things you have been waiting for will start to unfold before your very eyes. But you must remain steadfast. Do not let distractions pull you away. Do not let fear hold you back. Keep your heart open, your faith strong, and your spirit expectant, because what God has spoken over your life will not return void. His word will accomplish what He set it out to do. Chosen one, walk forward in boldness. Know that you are loved, chosen, and anointed for this moment. And when you look back on this day, you will remember it as the day everything changed. The day you truly stepped into your calling. Hold on to this promise. The best is yet to come. If this message has spoken to your heart, let me know in the comments. Have you felt the shift? Have you sensed God moving in your life? Share your testimony, your prayers, your declarations. There is power in agreement. When you declare what God is doing, you align yourself with His plan. And if you know someone who needs this word, share it with them. You never know who is waiting for confirmation, who needs encouragement, who is standing on the edge of their breakthrough. God is speaking. Now, it's time to walk in faith. Stay blessed, stay expectant, and remember, God is not finished with you yet.